Welcome everyone to the Healing Immersion Reclaim Your Power. This is the first of 3 masterclasses that will be streamed live here, but also recorded for you to watch later and to come back to it whenever you need. In these sessions, what I want to share with you in a nutshell is the step-by-step process, and that's going to include a lot of self-reflection, a lot of powerful healing techniques, meditations, breathing techniques. The step-by-step process that I have fine-tuned over the years through different trainings, different qualifications, having studied lots of different healing disciplines. So the process that I have fine-tuned over these years to help the people I work with to heal, to break free from the past conditioning, and to really help you become the magnet for the joyful and abundant life that everyone deserves. I believe that we are powerful beings. We do have the power to create our life with our state of being, with our vibration, with our mindset, with our beliefs, especially those deep, old core beliefs about ourselves, about others, about the world. We create, and that determines what events we attract, the people we attract into our life, if life feels stuck or it flows for us. We are truly powerful beings. Anyone can do this. Now, it sounds very simple, but the problem is that sometimes trauma, negative thoughts, a disempowering self-narrative, programming that we have been exposed to, whether that's our parents, school, society, social media, it can get in the way, right? So if your parents told you that, for example, being an artist, it's not a proper job and you're going to be broke for the rest of your life, you might be very frustrated in your career, battling scarcity and not flowing with it, because that subconscious belief, that decision that you made is running the show for you. If you experience bullying at school, you might find it difficult to express your authentic self. If you suffered abuse, whether that's verbal or physical, you might struggle to trust and to have intimacy in relationships, right? It doesn't need to be what we call big T trauma. Small T traumas, so minor events, also have an impact on us. So, for example, parents arguing in front of you, the role models that you were exposed to, or a one-off event at school where, for example, a teacher gave you negative feedback because of a bad score at an exam, and all those events we experience can leave an imprint. And as we experience these events, we make decisions all the time, especially as kids, especially between 0 and 6, 7 years old, because our mind is most of the time in that kind of like theta healing, like receiving, subconscious mind absorbing, like a sponge mode. We make decisions all the time based on what we see, what we perceive, what we experience. Is the world safe? Do I deserve love? Am I okay? Am I good enough? Is my dream job, or whatever the biggest dream in my life, is it possible for me? We make all those decisions all the time. And what I want to share with you over the 3 masterclasses that we're going to share together is what I call the Empower Method. For me, healing is all about empowering ourselves. It's all about letting go of what is no longer serving us, reclaiming our power. That's why this healing immersion is called Reclaim Your Power. For me, healing is all about stepping into our power, letting go of what is no longer serving us, saying goodbye to the role models, to the narrative, to the stories we tell ourselves, to the trauma, to the emotions, to the beliefs that are not in our highest interest, and really stepping into the powerful beings we are. So in this 3-step process that I follow, we're going to delve deep into my favorite and most powerful healing and mindset techniques, the ones that I use for myself, the ones that I use with my clients all the time. And I promise you that if you use the tools that I'm going to guide you through, and you really commit to the process with an open mind, and you allow yourself to experience it, And if you are consistent with the practices that I'm going to be sharing, I promise you that you will see results. I promise you that you will start to feel lighter, that you will start to see you change the way you see things, or you think about things, or the way you feel. You will start seeing your life flowing more for you. Now, what I'm not promising is a quick fix. What this is not going to be about is the latest manifestation technique or clicking the fingers to manifest your reality. This is deep inner work, deep inner work. But I promise you that if you follow it and if you put it into practice, and if you are consistent, because it's also not a one-off thing, I'm sure that if you attend this session, even just this session, you're going to get lots of insights. You might get some breakthroughs. If you come to the 3 sessions, you might come out of the 3rd session thinking, wow, that was transformational. But it doesn't end here. If you follow the techniques and if you are consistent, I promise that you will see results. And the reason why I'm doing this in this long format, and this kind of like all in, right? Basically throwing at you all my best techniques, the tools in this format, is because, as some of you know, I am pregnant and I'm going to be going on maternity leave starting late February next year, and the rest of the year, so most of the year next year, I'm not going to be doing any work. And I want to help as many people as possible before I take that break. I'm feeling great now. I was very tired at the beginning, but now I feel really good. So I really want to make the most of this time to help people, whether that's through my one-on-one program, which, by the way, if that's something that you're interested in, that's a 3-month container. And I'm enrolling my last few clients next week because 3 months, and considering there is always a Christmas break in between, I'm not going to be offering anymore until maybe when I'm back in 2026. So if that's something that you're interested in, have a look at my profile and let me know ASAP so I can fit you in. But I want to leave something while I'm away that anyone can use, that anyone can follow, and kind of a DIY of healing and personal transformation while I'm away. So I'm still, giving these talks for anyone who wants to come here, for anyone who finds me, or anyone who wants to revisit these talks and these meditations. So this is what awaits you and what we're going to be covering. Mary, good morning. Welcome. Daphne, welcome as well. Hi, Esperanza. Oh, thank you, my love. Yeah, good to have you here. Good to have you here. Hope you're well. So this is what awaits you over the next few days. So we're going to start talking a lot about the secrets that make the law of attraction work. So we're going to start building our big vision. There's going to be a lot about the vision, right? And how the law of attraction works. I'm moving further and further away from the term manifestation because it's kind of annoying me these days, because it sounds like it's something, where you click your fingers and it's like, oh, I manifested this, like a magician. And there is much more to it than that. So I'm going to share with you the key elements that will make the law of attraction work for you consistently. Like I said, we're going to work on getting crystal clear on your big vision, the life that feels right for you, not the one that others expect you to live or that you have been conditioned to live, the one that feels authentic and right for you. And we're going to be working on identifying the hidden blocks that might be holding you back from creating this vision, from bringing this vision into reality. This is what we're going to be focusing on for today. I'm also going to be sharing some energetic techniques with you, healing tools, meditation, breathing techniques to accelerate your healing, and so you can upgrade your state of being. So we're going to start seeing something about that today. And I'm going to be talking a lot about reprogramming your subconscious mind from the old stories and the old the negative or disempowering self-narrative that we tell ourselves, to a really empowering mindset, to a really empowering self-narrative that will make you a magnet for love, for abundance, for joy. We're going to be covering the subconscious mind topic more in detail tomorrow. And we're also going to be covering how to get in touch with the power of your inner wisdom, how to unlock those inner treasures, your intuition, how to listen to your heart, how to listen to your soul, your higher self, so you can access that higher guidance, and so you can guide yourself towards your highest life, because we all have that connection. We just need to unlock it. Like I said at the beginning, sometimes trauma, negative thoughts, unresolved emotions can get in the way. So that's why we need to work on the healing side of things first, and then unlocking the inner wisdom, the intuition, higher guidance. So for today, let me tell you a bit more about the Empower method that I've mentioned before. That's what we're going to start with. So it's a 3-step process. The first step is to identify your vision and to start working towards the goal. I think having a vision, having goals, having a sense of direction is really useful. Otherwise, you're driving a car, taking you God knows where, right? So having that sense of direction and having that clear vision that is aligned with your values is so, so, so important, because very often we start our path following what our parents told us that was right for us, or what school teachers recommended us, or what we see everyone doing in society, in social media, and we copy that. And I mean, we are social beings, and this is, an innate instinct. There is nothing wrong with this. But sometimes we get caught in that path that has been kind of laid for us in front of us, but sometimes it's not the authentic one. It's not the one, and by authentic, I mean the one we really want to live and the one we came here to live. We all come here with a purpose for a reason. Some people, have a big mission, which will have a tremendous impact on the earth and, impacting millions of people. Not everyone, that's not for everyone. I don't think that's for me. I don't feel that's the case. I'm happy with that. It could be, that your purpose in this lifetime is just to learn a lesson, or to heal something, and that's also as powerful and as important as impacting millions of lives. So the idea is to really get really, really clear on your values, so that is aligned, because not very often, always, it's very, very often the case that if the path you're following and the life you're living is not aligned with your values, there's going to be conflict. You're going to feel frustrated. That's one of the main sources of frustration. If the life you're living is not aligned with your values, is not directed by who you truly are, by your values, there's going to be conflict. There's going to be frustration. You're going to procrastinate. There's always going to be conflict, but there's always the case. And very often, one of the main reasons I hear a lot of people saying, well, my life is okay. I can't complain about anything, really. It's not that that I've suffered a lot. I have good health. I have a job, but I just feel empty. There's something missing, and that's because the vision or the life you're living is not aligned with those values. And it's your heart, your soul telling you, hey, not that way, not that way. So that will be the first step, creating that vision and working towards that vision. And we will be covering some elements of the law of attraction in a second. The second step will be to identify the hidden blocks and clear them. And this is the key part. It doesn't matter how clear you are on your vision. It doesn't matter how many times you write down your dreams, how many manifestation techniques you use, how many times you write it in your vision board, you visualize it upside down, inside out. If there is a subconscious belief, if there is a hidden block, if there is a part of yourself that doesn't believe that is possible, that is safe, that is what you deserve, it's not going to work. No matter how many times you write, how many affirmations you say to yourself, the key, the very, very, very key, and what we're going to spend a lot of time talking about today is on identifying and clearing those hidden blocks. And we're going to do a lot of practical exercises in a minute about all these. And then the third step will be to upgrade your state of being. You're going to hear me saying a lot that what matters is your state of being, not the vision, not the goals, not the steps, but the state of being, your vibration. And this is what we're going to cover mainly in the third day. So as we heal, as we clear, it's like a garden. Imagine a garden. If you want to have it like really pretty and nice, the first thing you need to decide is, what do I want to do with the garden? Do I want to plant lots of trees, flowers? Do I want an open area to lie down in the sun? Do I want to grow plants? Do I want to grow fruits and veggies? What do I want to do with the garden? The vision, right? Right. What do I see for my garden? And I'm pointing that way because my garden, because the window is there, so my garden is right there. What do I see in my garden? What do I want to create? Now, if there is a lot of weeding to do, if there are lots of weeds and old leaves and twigs and, and dirt everywhere, the first thing we need to do is to remove that, because you can't plant fruits or veggies or trees. You can't have a landscape garden with all those weeds and with all that dirt and with all that garbage from before, right? So then we focus on weeding. That will be the healing part, identifying the hidden blocks. With gardening, it's easy because the weeds are very obvious. You see them. But you know how sometimes, they hide deeply, the roots can be in places that you didn't expect. That's why we need to do a lot of work with the subconscious mind to really understand the root of the core belief or the core decision that is blocking that manifestation. And then, of course, you decide what you want to do with what you want to plant, what you want to attract, what you want to invite into your garden. Flowers, trees, beautiful grass to lie down or for the kids to play around. If you just focus on the weeding, and this is a common mistake that I see a lot of people do in their healing and personal transformation journeys, is that they focus a lot on the healing, and letting go, which is very needed. But then they don't fill up that space. They don't spend any time unlocking those inner treasures, getting in touch with those parts of ourselves that carry the wisdom, the power, the elements of ourselves that make us unique, our grace, as the shamans say, the inner treasures. And because if you don't do that, you're going to have a very, clean patch of grass or soil in your garden, but you're not going to have anything growing. You're not going to have anything flourishing. So the third step will be to upgrade your state of being and to really unlock those inner treasures, that inner wisdom, to connect with the intuition. So today we're going to focus on the vision, or defining the vision, and identifying the hidden blocks. So if you have pen and paper handy, bring it on, because we're going to start the practical part of this session. So we're going to start with lots of journalings, meditations, breathing. So yeah, grab a cup of tea or a bit of water, pen and paper, and we're going to get started with the more practical stuff. I'm going to catch up with the comments. They're saying, I'm thinking of a changing career. Self-employment is scaring me though, but I think it might allow me to be more authentic. I thought my current job sat with my values, but the reality is not. Yeah, I totally hear you, Jay, because for me, the main catalyst for my healing, awakening, transformation, whatever you want to call it, was changing my career. And for me, my life was pretty much perfect from the outside. My friends would say, what do you have to complain about? You have a wonderful, super high paying job in the corporate world. I had friends, relationships, nice family, relatively good health, so I had nothing to complain about. And I felt so frustrated, so empty, so demotivated. And I thought, but what is it? the problem must be me, that I'm not grateful enough. Well, the problem was that I was sitting in an office doing something that I couldn't care less about, something that I found completely meaningless. And my soul was screaming, saying, please, please do something about this. Please change. This is not what you came here to do. And it was through that, it was through changing my career. When you start working for yourself, you have to do so much healing and so much mindset work, because you're on your own. You create your work. You can do whatever you like. You can be as creative as you like. The sky's the limit. But also, you have to really know yourself, and you can't blame your boss. You can't blame, someone else. So for me, it was priceless. That's what started, or that's how I went into the rabbit hole of healing and letting go of what I no longer needed. All the programming I had been exposed to: be a good girl, find a good job in the corporate world. That's the ultimate dream: safety, stability, but it was making me miserable. So yeah, so I would definitely, if that is what your heart is telling you to do, yeah, definitely have a think of that, because it can be really, really, really transformational. Rose is saying, planting a new and establishing new intentional roots well aligned with our essence. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, corporate life can be soul sucking. Absolutely. It was for me. They blame my boss. Yeah. Yeah, I used to blame mine all the time. And now, because I'm my own boss, I'm like, okay, I guess I don't have anyone else to blame but me. I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change it for the world. It was such an empowering journey, and I feel, at the end of the day, what I ask myself, and this is already aligned with discovering your values and what we're going to reflect on to create your vision, guys. What I thought to myself was, right, when I'm 80 or 90 or 100, I don't know, I'm planning to live a long life, so maybe 120, who knows. I wanted to look back. I thought, if I'm 120 and I look back, and everything I've done is sitting in this great office, putting these meaningless numbers in these presentations for these people to just get richer and richer, I'm just going to want to kill myself. And my 120-year-old self was screaming to me, saying, please don't let me do this. Don't do this. Please don't do this. Don't let me die like this. Let's try something different. We might fail miserably. It doesn't matter. Let's try to do something different. This can't be all that is to life. And this applies to relationships, to the type of relationships we have. This applies to how we feel in terms of traveling and what we see. Sometimes we can limit ourselves a lot because of the programming we have been exposed to, and because of what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. So yeah. So what I'm going to invite you to do, maybe let's take a few deep breaths together before we start the practical exercises. Diana is saying, I work in hospice and have been grateful, but after 14 years, I'm wilting. Yeah, I can see how that's very, very, very intense work and very draining. Lack of financial resources and the amount of pressure to perform has diminished my shine and lowered my vibration. Yeah, and the thing is that the work we do has such an impact. We do it every day, so many hours a day. So yeah, it could be that it's being aligned with you for a period of time, but now there's something else coming up. Now your soul is saying, hey, we need to do something different here. This is not for you anymore. And that's a beautiful period that you can say goodbye to and be very grateful for. But yeah, but at any point you might feel that, and that's the beauty of it, that when I talk about vision or purpose, it's not about like one goal, and when you hit it, when you achieve it, right, I fulfilled my purpose, done. I don't think it works quite that way. And I think it changes, right? Our big vision, our purpose can change throughout our life. So for example, there's been quite a few years where I've been really focused on my career change and my work and helping others and healing myself. also in the process of learning all this, and I felt that that was my priority, and that was what I needed to focus on. Now, of course, with pregnancy, I feel that I'm going to leave that behind for a bit. It's not going to be my priority anymore, and the purpose is going to be the best mom I can be, right? It might be the in a few years, I go back to doing a lot of this, but maybe I will come with a completely different perspective. And maybe I will be working with a different type of client, or I will be bringing different topics here. So, yeah, also allow yourself to have that flexibility and to flow and listen to what your soul is telling you that is needed. Teaching is draining too, and feels like I don't teach. I fill in spreadsheets. Yeah. Oh, what beautiful words, Rose. Diana, your shine is so bright, so beautiful. Please say it again and brighter over time in what you do. I totally agree. Yeah. Jackie saying, I have identified my hidden beliefs and know the root cause, but I still constantly fall back to being reactive. What to do? Yeah. And Jay says, I hear you, Jackie, because this is very common. And the thing is that getting awareness is a good first step. But it's when you rewrite the story that magic happens. We are today, when we work on identifying some of the hidden blocks, I'm going to share an energetic technique that might help with that. But the session you don't want to miss is tomorrow's, because tomorrow is all going to be about that subconscious mind, and it's going to be about how to go to that moment where you made that decision, where the root cause lies, or where you made whatever the decision, whatever the belief is. And we're going to work with theta healing in a very relaxed meditative state, because the subconscious mind is the one that runs the world, basically, and that runs the show for you behind the scenes. Like an iceberg, this little bit over the surface of the water is the conscious mind, what we are aware of, but it's this deep chunk of ice under the water that holds all the power. And when we change that, is what brings the transformation. So I'm going to be sharing some elements of that, but tomorrow's session is the one for you. You're saying, I'm so lost as to what my soul wants to do. And this is a perfectly fine place to be in. I've been here. I was there for a long time. And allow yourself to take some time to and be patient, because sometimes sometimes when I see workshops, or you're going to leave this workshop and you're going to realize your purpose. And I think, really? In an hour or two, you're going to suddenly remove all the dirt in your glasses and all the conditioning and all the programming, and you're going to really connect with your intuition, with your higher self in 1 or 2 hours. It's a process. It can take time. The more healing you do, the more you let go of the baggage, the more you will be in touch with it. And on day 3, we're going to be covering a lot of that and using practical tools for that. So yeah, so don't miss day 3, because it might give you some insights. Okay, my loves. So what I'm going to invite you to do, first of all, where were we? I said we were going to take some deep breaths together. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Enough talking from me. I've been talking for half an hour already. And we're going to start just going within. Going to that inner world where all the magic happens. So starting to take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, if that feels right. Making each breath a bit deeper and a bit longer. Inhaling fresh air, fresh energy, letting the muscles around the abdominal area, the chest, the rib cage expand and relax with each inhalation. And exhaling any thoughts that are not relevant to this session, any stress, any tension. Let it all out with each exhalation. And as we slow down the rhythm of the breath and we relax all the muscles, allowing that deep belly breathing, breathing deeply into the abdomen, allowing all the air to go down, 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 down into the lower abdomen. We are letting the body know that it is safe to be here. We're coming out of the fight or flight response. And we enter in a more relaxed state where we can be more ourselves, where we can get more in touch with our inner world. And ultimately, this is what this is all about, that deep inner work. Continuing to breathe deeply and slowly. And as we move through the different exercises, try to bring that awareness to that breath, to bring the focus to that breath, making sure that you're not shallow breathing, that kind of like anxious chest breathing, that you're allowing yourself to fill up the lungs, fill up the body with fresh air, with fresh energy. And breathing out what you no longer need. Like you let go of the stale air. Letting go of what is not working for you. And I want you to start bringing your awareness to your big vision. What is your big dream? What will your life look like if you had no programming? If you were your most authentic, empowered self, what will your life look like? What is your soul calling you to do? What makes your heart sing? And if you were in your 80s, 100 and 120, what will make you look back and think, wow, that was a great life? And just stay with that vision. We're going to come back to it for a second. Christina is asking a very good question. What if nothing pops into your mind? Because sometimes it can, this type of exercise can put a lot of pressure on ourselves, right? And suddenly it's like, oh no, I need to figure out my purpose and have no idea. And, we can get a bit stuck in that moment. There is one exercise that I wanted to share with you. We are we're not gonna do it live because that will be a 1 hour and a 1 hour and a half workshop on its own. But something that I really like doing to start getting a sense of direction, to start getting a sense of what your vision or what your true life would look like is have a think about areas of your life that are important to you. So, for example, that could be family, friends, relationship, work, spirituality, health, sports. I don't know, anything between 5 and 10, ideally. And give it a score between 0 and 10. So if 0 were, okay, this area of my life is absolute chaos, nothing is working, um, totally awful, it couldn't get any worse than this. And being 10, it's pretty perfect. I can't think of anything else that could make this area better. Give it a score. And that's already going to give you an indication, of what areas of your life you might need to explore with a little bit more detail. And you can think about what would need to happen for each area of those ones that you have identified. What would need to happen so it becomes a 10? For it to become a 10, what would need to change? And sometimes breaking it down into different areas of your life, into different sections, it can help, because otherwise it becomes like big vision. I have no idea. Nothing comes to mind. So when you break it down into different parts, and again, this is something that I would recommend that if you come back to watch the recording, you stop the video here and take your time to do this, because this can take time, on self-reflection. And I would definitely recommend the session on day 3, because we're going to do a lot of work with our intuition, with our higher selves. So get into that state. So that one will be helpful as well. So whether you have an idea of your vision, I mean, like I said, I'm going to share a lot of tools with you here that I would love you to then take it, with more time, to meditate on it, or to expand on it, because otherwise we would need like 3 hours today and tomorrow and the day after, which I would love to do, but I think you will get a bit tired of that. Anyway, so think about, in whatever format that's coming to you, whether that's an image, whether that's, you're seeing yourself in a different life, whether that's very different compared to where you're at right now, whether that's just a few improvements, because again, it's not for saving the world, is not for everyone. Maybe it is for some of you here, or it will be in the future, but it's not about whose vision is bigger or whose dream is bigger or more important, because there's no such thing. So it can be something just slightly different in whatever format that's coming up for you, whether that's an image or maybe like a clip of a movie, maybe just sensations, maybe a lot of maybe you're more kinesthetic and you're feeling it in your body, and this is how I would feel, more than a goal. Or maybe nothing in particular is coming, and then you can think about just one thing that you could improve, just one little thing that you can improve. And I'm going to ask you, you can close your eyes again if that makes it easier. I'm going to ask you, in a scale of 0 to 10, how close do you feel to this vision? Being 0, miles away, nowhere near close, and 10, I'm there already. This is the life I'm living already. And you can share that in the screen, in the comments. By the way, I always love to hear from you. So feel free to interact, share your thoughts or your questions if you have questions. And you can even give it a title. Give it a title to this vision. It could be my big dream, or it could be my career change, if that's what you're focusing on, or it could be my next baby step, if that's what you have in mind. Something small, maybe it has a topic: abundance, love, give it a title. And I want you to say out loud, it is possible for me to live my dream, the title you've given it, or just the title. If the title is abundance, abundance is possible for me. And how the body reacts to that. How true does it feel in the body? And again, you can take notes of this, because this is already, by doing this, we're already starting to identify some blocks, or some negative thoughts might come to mind, some parts of yourself that might not agree. See how that feels in the body. And now I want you to say the title of your movie, of your big vision, of your dream. Feels safe for me. And again, just see how the body reacts. And one more, again, think about the title that you've given to your vision and say out loud. You can say it a few times to see how that feels. I deserve the title of your vision. Okay, that's brainstorming work. Absolutely. Absolutely. When we do brainstorming, and especially if you can be creative with prompts, like, I don't know, any items you might have at work, at home, post-its, I do that all the time, like little pieces of paper. Um, Tomorrow we're going to do a fire ceremony. So I'm going to be talking a lot about using these elements, stones, something that you collect from the park, from nature, like twigs, leaves, and seeing what they represent to you, what they're trying to say to you. In that way, you're connecting more to your senses, and not to your subconscious mind that much. And I remember that when I was in the middle of my career change and building my life vision, I thought of so many ideas until eventually I found, okay, this is my next step. And then that took me on a path. And then I've been, kind of like finding different things. But yeah, absolutely. You don't need to have the clear answer right now. These are tools and exercises that you can use. But yeah, I always say, put as many ideas in the list as you can find, not thinking about if they're possible, if if you want to pursue that path or not, but just as many ideas as you can think of. And then you can start think, all right, okay, is this aligned with my values? Does this feel right? Does this feel like a priority to me at the moment? But yeah, feel free to bring as many ideas. You're welcome, Christina. Hi, Kieran. Great to see you. Okay, so I see some numbers here. 1, 3, 5, 5, Espe saying joyful. So yeah, so we have some work to do, which fair enough, we all do. That's what we're here for. So that's great. Otherwise, if all of you had said 10, I would say, right, okay, so guys, the session is done. You don't need this. Let's talk about something else. So great. Um, oh, if I has to leave, I was in my lunch break, looking forward to the recording. Yeah, absolutely. I will be sending out the recording probably later today or tomorrow morning. Thank you for joining live, Espe. Great to have you here. Okay, my loves. So now we have a vision. We have a few ideas of how close we feel to it, if we feel like it's possible, safe for us, if we deserve it. We're going to be working a bit more on identifying some more hidden blocks in a minute. But before we do that, I want to share with you the two, I promised I was going to talk about the key elements that make the law of attraction work. And that's why we're doing all this work. And that's why we're spending so much time on identifying these hidden blocks, and we're going to spend more time clearing them. Because the key, in my experience and what I have experienced with the people I've worked with throughout the years, they tend to put a lot of focus on the vision, the goals, the next steps, visualizing it, the vision board, repeating affirmations. I am abundant. I am loved. I have joy. I have this in my life. I have this, I have that. And there is an element of that that is very powerful. So there is space for that. I'm not saying that it's not useful or that it's not valid. But what I found is two key elements. One, that is not so much about visualizing it and seeing the outcome, but it is about the state of being. What state of being would you need to be in so the only possible outcome is your big vision or better? And let me ask this question again, because this is a key question. This is a key moment of the workshop. So what state of being would you need to be in? And by state of being, I mean, what emotions would you need to feel? What beliefs about yourself, about the others, about the world would you need to reprogram yourself into? What kind of thoughts or self-narrative would you need to be telling yourself? What story do you need to be telling yourself? What vibration do you need to be in energetically? How will you need to feel? How does that feel in the body? What do you need to say? The power of our words is absolutely incredible. If you knew how much power we have with our words, we would be so careful with what we see and with what we think and what we say to ourselves, in silence or out loud. So what state of being would you need to be in so the only possible outcome is your big vision, without even thinking about it, without even thinking about the goals, without even thinking about the next steps? And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have to do anything, by doing this. Of course, if you're pursuing a career change, you're going to have to take some actions. If you are looking to start a new business, you're going to have to take some actions and put some work and effort in. If you're looking for a new partner, you're going to have to get out there and meet people. So it doesn't mean that you don't have to do anything, but the key is not visualizing it or repeating yourself something. The key is the state of being you need to be in, your energy, your vibration, your essence. And if you are in that state of being, and let's imagine, I don't know, let's say that that's being kind and powerful and caring and believing in yourself. I don't know, just a few things that come to mind. And the energy feels light or tingling in your body is going to be different for each person here today. If you are in that state, in that vibration all the time, you would just become a magnet for your dream life, for your vision. You wouldn't need to think about, writing down affirmations and doing subliminals and all that. Yeah, it helps. That might accelerate the process. But that's what I want you to focus on. And we're going to do a bit of that in a second. And the other key element is if there is any subconscious belief or programming, any parts of yourself that go against this vision. And again, we're going to do a practical exercise about this in a second. If there is a part of yourself, a negative thought, the inner critic, the inner child, whatever you want to call it, that jumps at the idea of you just visualizing yourself in that dream life, in that vision. And there is a part of yourself, there is a negative thought, there is a belief that comes up. No, that's not possible for you. Who do you think you are? That's never going to happen. for you. That doesn't happen for people like you. You don't deserve that. You haven't done anything to deserve that life. That's what we need to pay attention to. And as long as there is one of those subconscious beliefs and really core beliefs or parts of yourselves that are not aligned with your vision, again, it doesn't matter how many manifestation techniques you learn, it doesn't matter how many affirmations you repeat yourself, whether you want to write them down or say them out loud, it's not going to work. So those are the two key elements for the law of attraction to work. And sometimes what happens, what I'm doing more and more of, is that I still set intentions for my life. Obviously, I'm not, I'm not saying you have to run around like a headless chicken, not knowing what you want to do next. I still have a sense of direction and general goals, but I'm moving away from the idea of writing all the details and micromanaging the universe. I was an expert in micromanaging the universe. I still default to this. It's still a weakness of mine, I have to confess here. But you know what I mean? It's not about focusing on the details, because by doing that, you might be, even if you think right now that is your big vision, you might be limiting yourself. Whereas if you focus on being the best you can be, the highest self you can be, the most elevated and healed and empowered being you can be, then the sky's the limit. And sometimes what happens is that when we set our vision or our goals, we can still do it from the conscious mind. And maybe that's not in our highest interest. Maybe there's something better waiting for us. And when you focus on being in that vibration, in that energy, then unexpected things can flow to you. And you don't need to worry about the details and about the how. You just become a magnet, and then you start seeing like synchronicities or signs, So those key elements, the energy, the vibration, your state of being, and the hidden blocks. So now we're going to go back to that vision or dream. Lucy's saying, so it doesn't matter that I'm struggling to envision my dream life. No, not really. Because you will see, that's like having a sense of direction is going to make your life easier if you want to achieve a particular goal, like a career change or looking for a partner or buying a house. If those elements are part of your dream, yeah, it's something to set intentions towards and something to work towards. But you don't need to see that. You don't need to see that there is a lot of work that you can do on just improving yourself, healing, weeding, right? Removing that. Maybe you don't know what you want to do with your garden yet. You have no idea if you want to have a lounge and a table with chairs to make barbecues. You don't know if you want to grow vegetables. You don't know if you want to have lots of beautiful flowers and the garden full of trees. You can start doing the weeding. You can start getting that tidy. You can start making space for that. And you will see that as you make space for that, you will start to get ideas. Oh, that corner there. Oh, that looks like a nice spot for a chair to sunbathe there. Oh, that other spot, And once you start weeding, you start seeing ideas. So no, don't worry about that, because that's a perfectly normal and perfectly fine space to be in, not having that clarity. Then work on the weeding, the being your most authentic self, and then the inspiration will come. And we're going to do a lot of setting intentions tomorrow with the fire ceremony. We're going to work a lot with the subconscious mind, which is also going to help you with getting some insights. And sometimes you might not be in a session like this today, because again, it can feel like a lot of pressure, right? Oh, I need to like an exam. By the way, this is not an exam. I'm not going to give you a score at the end of the session. It's not competition or anything like that. But you set your intentions, you do your work, you try to be your higher self, the best you can be, and then you just wait for the signs to come. Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you put a lot of pressure on yourself, you're only gonna make yourself miserable, and from that place, from that state of being, you're not gonna get ideas or insights or inspiration. Trust me, Lucy, especially when it came to my career change, and also because that's when I had moved from Spain to the UK, so I was in a different country on my own, meeting a lot of people. I was really lost. I was like, I know that this is not what I'm meant to be doing, but what on earth? So it took me a bit of time. It took me a bit of time. And it was more and more when I was doing, yeah, the healing and finding more myself. It was a process. And eventually I got lots of ideas, and I'm still working on myself. I mean, I'm still, you know, uh changing my, my purpose or my focus keeps changing depending on what stage of my life I'm in. So going back to your vision, now what I'm going to invite you to do is, again, whether that's a big vision and you have a lot of clarity, or just the next step, your vision or your dream might be getting clarity. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know what I do. I know what I want to do. And that can be your vision, and that's it. That you have clarity, and that's a perfectly great next step. So I want you to really visualize yourself in that dream life, that vision, whether that's just having clarity or you have a very detailed, big vision for the next chapter of your life. So close your eyes and going back to that deep breathing into the belly. And really step into that vision. I have a lot of clarity. I am experiencing so much success. There is so much love around me, so much abundance. Whatever that is for you, really step into it. Really become one with that vision. And now I want you to bring your awareness to the body and see what sensations, how the body is reacting to that. What sensations, what energies are coming up for you. And it could be an emotion that you can't describe. It might feel scary. It might feel, uncertainty of the unknown. You might not feel very confident about it. There might be an inner voice saying, oh, you can't do that. That's not going to happen for you. A part of yourself that is like, no way on earth you're going to be capable of doing this. You're dreaming. Or maybe it's a sensation in the body. Just something tenses up suddenly. Maybe something around the stomach, the throat are very common areas where we tend to accumulate a lot of unresolved emotions. Fear, frustration, sadness. And again, this is going to be different for each person here, and it will come to you in different formats. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to write down as many as might be coming up for you. Whether that's a belief or a negative thought that is kind of recurring, that keeps coming back. Whether that feels, like an energy in the body, if it's more of a physical sensation. Maybe even a past memory is already coming to you, like something that happened in your life or how you grew up, that feels like what's getting in the way. Anything that is getting in the way of that vision. And make a list, because there might be a few. So now we're going to focus on one. I'm going to teach you an energetic technique called emotional freedom technique, or tapping. Some of the people who have been with me in these live sessions know perfectly what I'm talking about. So I want you to focus on one, but what I would definitely encourage you to do is to take a bit of time. If you come back to the session watching the recording, pause the video here and make a list of all the things that might be coming up to your awareness, even memories, even if you have to go back to when you were conceived, if you have any information about how you were conceived, how was your mom's pregnancy, what kind of dynamics you were born into, what was your family saying, how you were received, how you grew up, any experiences, big traumas or small t traumas, anything that is coming to mind, like a chronological series of events that you feel that might be impacting you right now as an adult, or holding you back from bringing that vision into reality. And it might be a long list. It was a long list for me. And the other day, I'm going to tell you more about the, what is it called? I forgot. Oh, for God's sake. I think it's the personal peace procedure. And it's about, identifying all the memories you can find, all the events you can find, all the experiences or challenges you have faced that might have an impact, or that still have an emotional reaction or an emotional attachment to it, and work on it one by one. And despite a decade or so of healing and working on myself and doing inner work as my profession and as one of my priorities in my personal life, I could still come up with a long list of things I think I could still work on. So yes, don't be surprised if you're still a work in progress despite many years. So yeah, I would encourage to make a list of as many as you can. And this is a technique what I'm going to share now and tomorrow, that you have to work on them at your own pace. Christina, the recording will be on my YouTube channel, because I'm recording it with the video. So I will upload the full workshop, well, all three of them. Right. Okay, my loves. So we've done a lot around identifying a vision, identifying the blocks. So you can go back to the beginning, to that idea of how close or how far you feel from that vision. If anything came up for you when we did the experiment of saying out loud, it's possible for me, it is safe for me, I deserve it. Then we tracked more the energy body and the sensations that were coming up, and the inner world. So choose one. Now, because we're going to do some energy work now, what I would say, if what's coming to you, it's a really traumatic event, don't choose that one for this session, please, because it might open a Pandora box that you might not know how to manage on your own. So this is a disclaimer. You know yourself, you know how far you can go on your own when doing healing and using these tools. What I would say, especially if it's the first time you're doing it, try to choose something that feels a bit lighter, or feel with less intensity, because I'm going to guide you through the technique, but I'm not there for you to help you manage that. If you get upset, or if you feel bad, normally I would do this in a one-on-one session, guiding the whole process, and we will dig a lot deeper, like trying to get to the root problem. So this is kind of like a DIY tool. So please be mindful of your limits and what you think you can handle. Having said that, tapping or emotional freedom technique is one of my favorite techniques. I use it here all the time in these live sessions. So also I'm gonna share kind of like what they call the basic recipe with you guys, but you can go to my channel and see more follow along sessions that you can do on different topics, like confidence, stress, anxiety, self-love. So the idea is that for the ones of you who don't know tapping, they call it acupuncture without needles. So every time that there is trauma or an experience that is unsettling or that leaves an imprint for us, it causes a disruption in the energy flow. So the energy flows through our body, through our energy centers, the energy meridians. When we are exposed to a traumatic experience, whether that's a big T trauma or a small, tiny T trauma, there is a disruption in the energy body. And if we don't process that properly, it will get stuck in there. And we accumulate a lot of different pockets of energy and old emotions that we haven't processed properly, that we haven't healed, and that we no longer need. But when then we are exposed to similar situations or to certain circumstances, they can get triggered. And also they can hold certain beliefs about ourselves, about others, about the world, so they can have an impact, and they can really block our success and the life we want to live. So the idea is that we're going to be gently tapping with our fingers on certain points of the face and the body. I will show you the sequence in a minute. And the idea is that by doing that, while we are repeating some statements, so we are going to be using, I told you to choose one belief, one emotion, one unpleasant sensation in the body. While we describe it out loud, we are inviting that unprocessed emotion or energy or block to come out of the body. It's like saying, hey, I'm talking to you, and it's time to be released. And it's time to get this out of the system. And it's really, really, really effective. And this is particularly good if you're really stressed or anxious, sensations of fear or panic, anything, anger, anything that has like a very strong emotional reaction or a very strong emotional intensity still. That's really good for that. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to choose one and describe it with a few words. So for example, it could be lack of confidence. It could be fear about starting my own business. It could be I feel so anxious right now. It could be a red ball of anger in the stomach. It could be something tight around the neck. You might not be able to pinpoint the emotion, but just the sensation works as well. Now, the idea is that you get as specific as possible. So use your own words to describe it. I've done lots of sessions where it has been a guided session and I have been saying certain statements and people just repeat out loud with common, limiting beliefs or statements that we might struggle with. But because this is for you to do on your own and to practice on your own, what I want you to do is to be as specific as possible. And this is one of the main ingredients of the basic recipe anyway, because the more specific you can get, the better it works. It's like laser targeting, the energetic block in the body. So the tapping points are the side of the hand. So we tap gently, like 5 to 7 times on each point. The top of the head, so the center of the head, and following the line that will come from your ears. It's that point there. The beginning of the eyebrow, the end of the eyebrow, that kind of like bony socket there. Under the eye, in line with the center of the eye. And you can tap with both hands, with one, cross over. Doesn't make a difference, whatever feels better for you. Under the nose, under the bottom lip, and so between the bottom lip and the chin. So sometimes to do this, I have to make this funny face to make sure I'm reaching the point. The collarbone point. So if this is, you probably can't see because I'm wearing a turtleneck today because it's very cold. But if this is the beginning of the collarbone, and if you go slightly, like an inch, and also I'm wearing this big necklace, which is also not helping. So here's the beginning of the collarbone. So if you go 1 inch this way, you will get to a soft, sometimes sore spot. If you do this, you will find it even better. It's between the two bones. It's between the collarbone and the beginning of the sternum. So that kind of like indentation there. And then the side of the body so where the bra strap will be for ladies, or in line with the nipples for men. So that is around, tapping 5 to 7 times on those points. That's around. And what we're going to do is we're going to say a setup statement. The setup statement always starts with, even though I have this issue you're targeting, sensation in the body, belief, experience, whatever is coming up for you. And if you can keep it short, like to a few words, it's easier. Even though I have this, fill in the blank, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Some people struggle with self-love. So some people might struggle to say I deeply and completely love myself. You can say, I'm going to be okay. Even though I have this red anger in my stomach, I'm going to be okay. So choose the words that resonate with you. The idea is that we want to create a space of acceptance and not judgment, because with judgment, there's no healing. Acceptance is one of the first steps and one of the key steps to healing. So we're just creating that space of acceptance and a non-judgmental space for anything that needs to come out. So you can start, even though I have this, fill in the blank. And before we start, actually, sorry, I forgot, to test the results, give it a number between 0 and 10. Being 0, I can barely feel it, and being 10, oh my God, this is really, really intense, like the most intense it can get. And after a few rounds, we can assess the progress. So even though I have this, fill in the blanks, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. This, fill in the blank. Keep saying it out loud for each point. Use your own words. This hidden block. This emotion. But use your own words, your specific words. Beautiful. So that's a round. And the idea is that after each round, you want to be assessing if that number went down, if it stayed the same, or if it stayed higher. Keep going, by the way. Just keep, if that feels right, just keep repeating a few words. This block, this hidden block, this emotion, this belief. Keep going as I explain the next steps, because I want you to be able to use this technique on your own whenever you need. It's been part of my morning routine for a long time, sometimes on and off, but really, really great to, when you wake up, you start feeling any negative thoughts, you feel a bit awkward. Yeah, you tap it away. It's really great. So the idea is that after each round, you're going to be assessing that number. So if it's going down, that's great. It means that you're releasing something. You might find yourself yawning or coughing, or you might feel like the body wants to move and stretch. That's really great. That means the energy is being released. Sometimes what happens is that it will change. Maybe you started with red anger in the stomach, and then you think, oh, but it's still very intense even after a few rounds. Okay, so check in with yourself. Is it still the red anger in the stomach? Or has it changed to a deep sadness? Or has it changed to a particular event in the past? So the idea is that after each round, you keep assessing where the number is going, if it's coming down, if it's not coming down, and if it's still the same, you just do a bit more. If it's not coming down, it might be that you haven't hit the specific words you're looking for. So keep describing it with more words until you find that you hit the sweet spot. And sometimes what happens is that you start thinking about, yeah, lack of confidence, Yeah, lack of confidence. Okay. And then suddenly something comes to you. Oh my God, that day when everyone was laughing at me at school. And you will feel it, that that's underneath the surface, that that's an underlying root problem. And then you go with it. The day that everyone laughed at me at school. And that might bring new emotions. The embarrassment. Okay, the embarrassment. And you do a few rounds. The embarrassment, the embarrassment, the embarrassment. But there was also fear because I didn't know what was going to happen and if it was going to get out of hand. Okay, so you do a few rounds. The fear I experienced one day, the fear I experienced that day. Or you can get more specific, the fear of whatever, the fear of being rejected, the fear of not being accepted. And you continue for as long as you need. So the idea with this, and you keep assessing the intensity. Now, here, like with every healing technique, I can give you the generic guidelines. Obviously, if we were in a one-on-one session, I would be poking, and asking you questions to see where that takes us. And eventually it would take us either to a core memory or to a core part of yourself. And then we would work more on that. And we will do more work on the subconscious mind and rewriting that story. Because sometimes what can happen is that imagine there was a very traumatic memory when kids laughed at you at school because you made a mistake when you were performing, and that was really scary and traumatizing and upsetting for you. So it could be that every time you have to give a presentation or every time you have to be in front of a group of people, you get social anxiety or you get very panicky or you get very scared. And you can do a few rounds. Okay, I'm scared of going to this pub and meeting these people. I'm scared of doing this presentation. And it will bring the intensity down. But because the core event or the core memory or the moment when the decision was made hasn't been resolved, every time there is a similar situation, it will be triggered again. So that's what we're going to work on tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's all going to be about identifying those early events and rewriting the narrative. So I'm not going to go a lot into it because we've been going for almost an hour and a half, and I still have a couple of things that I want to cover. So, but know that that will be the deepest step. Like if you have been practicing tapping for a while and you think, yeah, it works, but it keeps coming back, or it doesn't feel like it's really making much difference other than the temporary fix. It could be that either one, you haven't identified the keywords, you haven't hit the nail at the head of the nail yet, or it could be that is something that requires deeper work and going to that specific memory or to that specific event and really reprogramming that subconscious core belief, that deep belief. And that's what we are going to be doing tomorrow. But this tapping sequence is very, very effective. This is something that you can do on a day-to-day basis. If you get nervous, if you get panicky, it's really good for people with stress, anxiety, with fear, with anger, with, like unresolved emotions that come up and can become quite intense. Like I said, it's being, especially if I'm going through a more challenging situation, I bring it back to my morning routine and, whatever comes up. What I would recommend you to do is to start practicing again on simple things so you don't open a Pandora box that you might not know how to manage if you're doing it on your own. If you go to a website called the Palace of Possibilities, that is, Gary Craig was the founder of Emotional Freedom Technique. And he's very old now and he's been really struggling with his health. And I think he's doing a lot of free stuff and he's like putting a lot of content out there because I think he just knows that, he's about to retire and that he might not be doing this for long. And he's like going all in, giving a lot of stuff. So even the practitioner training course that he was doing for thousands of dollars, because it was his practitioner training course, is available for like $100 or something like that. And he has a free course where he teaches you, obviously this is what they call the basic recipe, so the most basic step-by-step process that you can follow, but there are other things that you can do. What they call the movie technique, for example, when you go through a particular memory and to release the intensity. So that's something that I would, if you want to learn more about this, of course, working one-on-one is an option, but if you want to learn more about it, to do it yourself, yeah, there is a lot of information for free. And what they call the personal peace procedure, which is what I was saying a little while ago, is about identifying, yeah, all those emotions, everything that is bothering you, really, whether that's an emotion, a belief, a negative thought, events, memories, right? And clearing one day at a time. And he says, if you have 100, imagine if for 3 months, every day you dedicated 10, 15 minutes to clear one of those things that are bothering you, just with this tapping sequence until you reduce the intensity. 3 months, 1 day, you can get rid of 90, 100. Wouldn't your life, transform enormously if you did that? So I would definitely encourage you to do that. Or I have some videos on YouTube with follow along sequences where you can just follow and repeat out loud with me. So feel free to explore that as well. Jay saying, I want to lose a lot of weight as I think that will help in all areas of my life. Live my vibration as I feel lighter, more confident and stronger. I don't want to think about that. I think too much about it. I don't know what that refers to, but yeah, of course, the body and how we feel in the body can have a massive impact. It's so related. We can't separate the body from the mind, from our emotions, from our soul. It's all connected. If we are living in a body that doesn't feel, if we don't have health, if it's full of toxins, if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't feel at its best, it's going to be very difficult to access those higher parts of ourselves. If you think about, your soul as your higher frequency, your higher dimensional part of yourself, and you being a channel or a vessel to access that guidance, to access that information, to access your essence, your purpose, that part of yourself that is higher dimensional, so knows what's happening, knows what you need to do. If you don't feel good in your body, it's going to be very difficult to be a vessel for that. If we have a lot of intense emotions still going on unprocessed, it's going to blur our vision. It's going to be very difficult to access that and to live in alignment. Our soul, our essence, our values, what we think, the way we feel, the body, the physical vehicle, right? So yeah, they're all connected together. Okay, my loves. So we're approaching the end of the session. Not long to go now. Now, what I would like to, and when you do that, by the way, you could go back to one of the very first questions at the beginning, which is, how close do you feel to your vision now? And it could be sometimes that after a few rounds of clearing those beliefs or emotions or sensations in the body, you're like, oh, it feels a bit more doable now. So yeah, so you can go back to testing that. It probably didn't happen today, as we didn't do a long session. I wanted to teach the technique, so you have the step-by-step process, so you can do it on your own anytime you need. But again, if you stop the video and you do it for a few rounds, you might find that you feel a bit closer to that vision, to that dream. Now, what we're going to do to wrap up today's session is I'm going to invite you to close your eyes again. Take a few deep breaths, especially if you have done some tapping on specific beliefs or sensations or thoughts, to let that be processed. Exhaling through the mouth if that feels right. Enhancing that release, letting go of that, anything that is no longer serving you. And I want you to bring your awareness back to your vision, your dream life, that next step in your path, whether that's something small or big. knowing that you have this wonderful tool and that you have even more tool, that you're going to have even more tools tomorrow. So parking aside for a bit, if they still remaining, if the unpleasant sensations, if the blocks, if the negative thoughts are still there, leave them aside for a second. We'll continue to work on them with these tools. We continue to work on them tomorrow. Just let them know that we will come back to them. And try to take it out of the system for a second. Try to take it out of your system for a second. Like you were literally putting them in a different room. And now I want you to focus on the state of being that you would need to hold so your vision becomes the only possible outcome for you. So bringing a lot of attention, all the awareness to the state of being. What emotions would you need to feel? What would you need to believe about yourself or others or the world? Energetically, how does that feel? Does it feel light? Does it feel gentle? Does it feel strong? Does it feel like it's moving or firm or steady? There's no right or wrong, and it will be different for each person here. What frequencies do you need to step into? Love, power, kindness, compassion, confidence. And you start to see that the more and more you step into this state of being, you don't even have to think about how to create that vision. You're a magnet for it. You are totally in resonance with it. So there is no other possible outcome. That's what you're going to be creating from that state of being. And imagine the potentials that could open up for you. If you are in that state of being all the time. You might see yourself as a vessel through which energy flows, like a very empowered being that irradiates life and light. Maybe like a gentle, kind, compassionate being that touches other people's hearts. Maybe you feel yourself having a lot of energy and power to do lots of things. And let every cell in the body absorb this state of being. In whatever format is being presented to you. Let every cell of your being, every particle of energy, every atom in the body be upgraded and really absorb this state of being. Stepping into it energetically. Beautiful. And you can remain in this state of being for a bit longer if that feels right. It's probably quite pleasant. So feel free to do so. If you're ready, you can open your eyes and meet me back in the screen and all the lovely meditators, 160 meditators we have here today. And feel free, guys, to share your questions, your insights in the chat. We're going to be wrapping up the session. So I wanted to finish with this kind of like positive, empowering, uplifting practice to finish with. So we're going to do a short recap before we go. So we started talking about the Empower method, building the vision, identifying the blocks, and upgrading your state of being, the inner treasures, the inner wisdom, the higher guidance. With the example of the garden, designing the garden, creating the vision of what you want your garden to look like, doing the weeding, and then planting and nurturing the fruits, veggies, trees, flowers, whatever you want to create. We did some exercises around creating that vision, getting in touch with your values. There are some journaling prompts that you can revisit when you watch the recording and take a bit more time to think about it. I would definitely encourage that. I know I've shared a lot of stuff here today, and this session has been packed with lots of different things. So I would definitely recommend that you go through it again and that you take your time, meditate on it, and maybe not with the pressure of doing it here, but just in an environment that feels good. Go to nature with your notebook and your pen. We worked on identifying the hidden blocks. We talked about how the law of attraction, the key elements are not the goals and the vision or the affirmations or the visualizing, but the state of being, what we did at the end. And of course, identifying the hidden blocks. So we did a lot of work around feeling them in the body, bringing them to our awareness in different ways, those hidden blocks. Now you know the tapping sequence, the basic recipe of tapping or emotional freedom technique to start clearing these blocks and working on these blocks one at a time. And what I would recommend that you do every day from now on is take a few minutes to really connect with that state of being. So not the goals, that's really great. If you want to create that life map that we talked about at the beginning, identifying different areas of your life, giving them a score, what can be improved, what would need to change. That's really great to have a sense of direction and to set intentions. But the daily practice that I would recommend is to really step into that state of being, to really feel it, to really become that state of being. And the number one practice that I would recommend you add to this is gratitude. Gratitude, again, is one of the key elements of the law of attraction. If you follow Joey Dispenza, who talks a lot about manifestation and healing through meditation and the power of the mind and visualization, he says that, and I totally agree, that gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. When you are grateful for something, you are sending the signal that you have more than enough, that everything you need is available to you. That's the subconscious belief you're sending to the universe. So then it responds saying, yeah, you do have a lot. It keeps giving you more. So stepping into that state of being, whether you describe it with words, sensations, colors, quality of the energy, positive emotions, positive beliefs, and add the element of gratitude. I am so grateful because this is already in my life. I'm so grateful for all the wonderful things I have. And you will see that if you practice that, even if it's for a few minutes every day, you will notice a huge difference. Last week, I gave a session on gratitude for healing and life flow. That one is in my channel if you want to check that out. And we did a longer meditation on gratitude, so feel free to check that out. But yeah, that is the key. Keep working on your vision. If you need a bit more clarity with the prompts, visualize yourself in that state of being, like really. And that's something that you can do even when you're on the tube or on the bus. You can close your eyes. No one's going to know. The gratitude, again, is something that you can write about in your journal, that you can. But if you can connect to the emotion, it's much, 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 much better. Like really allowing yourself to to feel that gratitude. And I know that when you go through challenging times, it can be difficult to be grateful, right? And let the negative aside. But if you stick to it as a daily practice, what's difficult is to bring those practices in when you're in a bad state of mind, when you're in a very negative mindset, when the train of negative thoughts has spiraled and you can't get out of it. That's when it's very difficult to remember to do all these practices. But if you do it as a daily thing, that's what's really going to get you the results. So tomorrow, we're going to start with a fire ceremony. We're going to set intentions in a different way. So by a fire ceremony, what do I mean by a fire ceremony? You're probably thinking, this woman is crazy. How are we going to do a fire ceremony today? All we need to do is bring a candle, and you can bring a few little pieces of paper or toothpicks, because we're going to be setting intention, and that's what we're going to be burning with a candle. Obviously, mind your space. You might not be in a space where you can do that, but you can be in a place at home where you can be relaxed. And yeah, just the candle is enough. We don't need to burn the whole forest. Just a candle and a few pieces of paper, and that's really powerful. We're gonna do a lot of work, not with the conscious mind, but within, stepping into that energy, going deep into the subconscious mind. There's going to be a very deep theta healing meditation, so make sure you're going to be comfy and that you're not going to be disturbed. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow, going deeper into the subconscious mind, rewriting the old stories into a more empowering narrative. A few things before I go. Like I said, if you're interested in doing any one-on-one work with me, my 3-month program, I'm gonna onboard the last few clients next week, because I don't have time to do it later, because I'm gonna be on maternity leave starting on around late February. I'm doing early March, so I want to leave a bit of a margin there. So please feel free to check out my profile or message me, drop me a line if you would like more information. Please share this event with your loved ones. The more the merrier. If you know of anyone who needs to hear this, who needs to go through this process, feel free to send them the links, or to send them to my profile, to my website. All the information is there. They can register there. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you, especially if someone has been here since we started, so an hour and 40 minutes ago. If someone has lasted this long, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your reviews in the recorded tracks that I have here and Inside Timer, my courses. Thank you for your donations. They're very welcome and much appreciated. Thank you for your kind words, the messages you send me. And please know that if you have any questions, if you are facing any challenges in particular, I have so many resources already available that I could point you to. So feel free to drop me a line, to drop me a message, and let me know what you're up to. I always love to hear from you guys. Thank you, Veronica, for all the insights and exercises you have shared to see the potential we have when we put the work in to transform our lives. Yeah, that's probably something that I should have said, because I always mention it in these workshops, but actually it is our choice. It is our choice and our responsibility. I firmly believe that we do have the power to create our lives and to transform our lives and to elevate ourselves to places and to states of being that we never thought possible. But we need to make that choice. It is a choice that requires courage. This is not for everyone. What you have done today, guys, and what you're going to be doing tomorrow and on Thursday, it requires courage. It requires, it's deep work. This is not for everyone. I'm aware of that. But if you want deep and long-lasting transformation, a quick fix is not going to do the job. So well done, everyone, for bearing with me and for being open-minded and for trying all these practices. I hope that was useful, that you got some insights that I would love to hear. By the way, thank you, Diana, for your generous donation. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. And I will see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow at the same time. Make sure you're going to be in a comfy space for the meditation, and get ready to step into that kind of like ceremonial space that I really, really love, and they can be really, really powerful to set intentions. And yeah, but I'm gonna go because otherwise I'm gonna start tomorrow's session now, and we're gonna be here for 5 hours. So, okay, my loves, thank you everyone again for joining. Sending much love and light, and wishing you a wonderful rest of your day. And hopefully, I will see you tomorrow for day 2. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.